Force will be with you, always.
Hey everyone, I'm the black-haired Richard Korra Kenobi here, and I'm back again for another DC animated movie review, and today we're going to be reviewing the newest one, Batman, Gotham by Gaslight, based off of the graphic novel and the sequel, Master of the Future. So, yes, this is the newest DC animated film, and this is one that I've been excited for because Gotham by Gaslight, as we all know, was the first Batman Elseworld story, or just overall the first Elseworld story in general. Finally, they are tackling this one, and I was very excited because, as I said, it's one of my favorites, and I know it's one of y'all's favorites, so I was very much anticipated to see how they would handle this. Now, as of late, the DC animated films have been unfortunately going downhill with The Killing Joke and Batman and Harley Quinn, even though those were two guilty pleasures of mine, but that's just my opinion. This one, I am proud to say, is amazing. This one is a damn good film. Honestly, it's one of the best DC animated films we've had in a long while, and I was just so happy with it. This will be a non-spoiler review because the film just came out on digital yesterday, so I want you guys to go out and watch it and support it. Don't worry, I'm not going to give the mystery or anything else beyond that away in this review. Batman Gotham by Gaslight, as I said, is the newest DC animated film made by Bruce Timm and directed by Sam Liu, also written by Jim Krieg. And this sees Batman in Victorian London Gotham going up against one of the most famous killers of all time, Jack the Ripper. Now, I must say, getting into this, as someone who has heard about Jack the Ripper and all the things this guy did, I was very interested to see how they would handle this. So, coming into this film, I was very surprised that many changes were made, some that didn't feel forced, like The Killing Joke, but some that were necessary and didn't overall make this adaptation feel like it was a bad adaptation. When we finally do see who Jack the Ripper is, it's a twist that you're not going to see coming, and I was very surprised by that, and I love that the clues are there, but viewing it a second time, you come to respect the hard work and effort they put into kind of slowly giving you the identity of Jack the Ripper. Of course, let's talk about the voice cast. Returning to play Batman in this is Bruce Greenwood, who is best known for playing Batman in Batman Under the Red Hood and Young Justice Season 1 and Season 2. It was amazing to hear Bruce Greenwood back as Batman / Bruce Wayne again, and honestly, I just loved his performance. He really knocked it out of the park and just gave us a great performance. I'm very much happy he came back, and I can't wait to see what he does in the future. Hopefully, he can come back for Young Justice Season 3. Fingers crossed. We have Jennifer Carpenter as Selina Kyle. Now, Selina Kyle has a very, very big role in this. She is sort of the champion of the women, and this era that we're in, this is around the suffragettes and prostitution. So she takes it upon herself to sort of defend the women of Gotham City and try and figure out who Jack the Ripper is and try to put a stop to him. So I very much like how Selina Kyle's role is in this. She's not just a damsel in distress, nor is she just doing this for the sake of some kind of personal gain. She is doing this because she just feels it's the right thing to do. Again, I really love how they gave Selina Kyle more to do in this story and just overall made her feel more useful and helpful when she could. We have Anthony Stewart Head, best known as Giles from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He plays Alfred. Now, I gotta be honest, when I heard he was playing Alfred, I thought, that's perfect. That is honestly perfect casting, because if you loved him as Giles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you're gonna love him as Alfred. He delivers one of the best Alfred performances I think we've ever seen, and honestly, I was very taken in by his performance. Maybe this is just me. I want to see him do more related things as Alfred and be more active in the role. Maybe that's just me, but that's how good his performance was. And honestly, I can't wait to see what he does next. Finally, we have Scott Patterson as James Gordon. First of all, he is Commissioner Gordon. He does work with the Batman. He has his wife. And of course, he's trying to stop Jack the Ripper, but he's also questioning, should he team up with the Batman or should he stop him? It's very much a year one Commissioner Gordon. I do like Scott Patterson. He did an amazing job. You could find the situations he was in very relatable. He just had to work with a necessary evil to stop Jack the Ripper. So I thought that was amazing. So yes, big props to the cast as they performed amazingly. All of Batman's villains and heroes and friends make appearances in this movie. Some of which make sense, some of which you were like, huh, that's interesting. So I like how they did that. It just fit the role, in my opinion. So yes, very much appreciated, and I think that goes to Jim Krieg. He did an amazing job with this script and just giving the characters something that I don't think we've seen before in an Elseworlds animated film, but then again, this is the first one. The soundtrack was also very good. There is a musical number in this, which I will not spoil, but I gotta say, for being transported back into the 1800s, there was atmosphere and suspense to it. When there's action, the music just kicks up like that, and I love it so much. It's very well composed, and honestly, I would just love to find this soundtrack online, but that's just my opinion. Now, of course, let's talk about the animation, because I know that's gonna come up a lot. The animation goes for that simple style. It doesn't fully try to replicate Mike Mignola's work, which I understand because that would cost a lot more to literally try and get that style down. For 70 to 80% of the time, it looks good, but there are some times where you can see that frames are not drawn correctly, or sometimes it just sits there. Hopefully in the future, I would like to see the DC animation department get more of a bigger budget so they can really go more risky with their animation like they used to. But again, the animation does its job and it looks good. It actually reminds me of the Batman's animation. The character models look good, especially Bruce Wayne, Selina Kyle, James Gordon. Like, whenever it focuses on one specific scene, you can see the detail in the animation. Even the fight choreography is very well executed, and it doesn't look choppy or sloppy. The animation team must be commended, especially for capturing the look of the 1800s and England itself. Even the language they say, like some of the things they say that they would have said back then, makes perfect sense. The animation team gets a big shout out for that one. Now, let's talk about this. The mystery, because again, I won't spoil it. As someone who did read the graphic novel, the mystery of who Jack the Ripper was very predictable, and if this ever came to an animated adaptation, it would be necessary to change it to sort of play up the mystery of who Jack is. Jim Krieg, once again bringing it back to him, he did an amazing job of sort of retweaking this movie and the graphic novel to sort of fit this adaptation, because the original graphic novel was not long enough to be adapted into this nature. So there were changes that needed to be made, but I think they're for the better. It still has most of the elements, I should say, of Gotham by Gaslight, but it also includes small elements of Master in the Future. When we finally find out who Jack the Ripper is, from his perspective, it totally makes sense, I can believe it, and it didn't feel like it was tacked on. It definitely was relatable. For the time Jack did what he did, they did a very good job of giving him sort of a good motivation to kind of humanize him for this era. Even though this film is rated R, it doesn't go over the top like you would think it would. There is gore, but not too much of it. It's very subtle in how it executes the Jack the Ripper killings, especially Jack killing prostitutes, which kind of is good because you want to still keep the mystery of what does Jack do to them. but also there is some swear words, so again, if you're over the age of 18, you're perfectly fine to watch this, and it's very minimal, and it pretty much doesn't take you out of the mood of this movie, of the dread that's going on. One other thing I must commend the entire production on this for, capturing how an Elseworld story of this magnitude was able to be done. They made sure to make it mostly original, but also not be afraid to take and borrow elements from the Gotham by Gaslight sequel, but also making sure it's a faithful adaptation of Gotham by Gaslight, which this is. Now, is this better than the graphic novel? I really can't say that at this time. I would have to watch the film to really give you a concrete answer. But I can tell you this, since this is one of the many surprisingly good adaptations we've had in a while, it very much is great at what it does, and I would highly put it up there with some of the other greater adaptations we've had in the past. There is one little thing I had wrong with this film. It's just one complaint. It's the ending. Now, without giving anything away, it just stops. Like, when you think there's a couple of extra minutes that could have been done to sort of tell us what happens after that, sort of tie everything up nicely, because by the time it ends, you can kind of put together what happens in your imagination and in your mind, but it just would have been nice to see that fully come to fruition and just sort of be a nice send-off for these characters. It definitely could have made the movie even much better. That doesn't really matter, because this movie shocked me, and I think it's shocking a lot of people, because we haven't had something this good from DC Animation in a while, and I'm happy to say that, yes, guys, this film, from beginning to end, was simply amazing. Now, is it perfect? Absolutely not. It does have its flaws. I definitely think audiences are going to enjoy this. If you're a huge fan of Batman Gotham by Gaslight, you will find some good things to like in this, but if you're just a huge fan of Batman in general, then you're going to be happy to see an Elseworld story with Batman and his world transported back to the 1800s, and it just gave us something truly great. I would just like to see more Elseworld stories done. Maybe we could get a Red Sun Superman story, or a Batman Bloodline story, or just any Elseworld story. That would be nice, but that's just me, and here's hoping that this film succeeds. The cast was amazing, the soundtrack was great, the animation was top-notch, even though it had a little hiccups in there. The story was very original while still staying true and faithful to the original graphic novel, and of course, just everything was very nice. There was a good level of maturity in this, and there is dread, suspense that has been missing from the past two DC animated films. Overall, you will have a good time with this. I would just recommend that you set your expectations to a minimum, and you just go in expecting something good, because you will get that. And I am just very happy that this film is getting a lot of good buzz, and I would like to see a sequel to this. I very much would. This film gets a solid 8.5 out of 10. I know that's a little low compared to what I gave my Scooby-Doo and Batman review, but just bear in mind, it's the difference in taste. I just want to make that clear. That was my review of Batman Gotham by Gaslight, and let's get a discussion going about this, guys. I would really like to hear your opinions. Have you seen Gotham by Gaslight? Do you want to see it? If you did see it, what did you think of it? Did you think it was great? Did you think it was bad? Or did you just think it was okay, in the middle? Also, too, if you're new to my channel, then please, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that little notification bell to be notified of all of my videos. And I want to say, again, thank you to Warner Brothers, DC Animation, Bruce Timm, Sam Liu, and of course, Jim Krieg, for all of your guys' hard work, and thank you all so much for giving us a great film, and I can't wait to see what you guys have in store for us next. But until then, my fellow Batman fans, this is Richard Korra Kenobi saying, may the Force be with you, and I'll see you all for the next one. Bye, everybody!